Men are ready to settle down. They just have not found the right one, or there's some things they need to work on.
You're right about that. I remember when I was ready to get married, and I was actually dating to marry, and sometimes I wouldn't go past 2 days with a woman because I would know right away. But it really did get difficult trying to juggle the different women, the time, the money.
Yeah.
Right.
Birthdays, Christmas, Valentine's Day.
I wouldn't know nothing about that.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And so you know
you said on light skinned boy.
Oh, no, he didn't go there. No, he didn't go there. What?
It's Ray. I'm the darkest man in the room.
Did he just say that?
Wow.
I just called you yellow.
Did he just say that? That's all
I
right.
had to get it in once in a century.
That's all right. Barack Obama made me relevant here.
And so, you know, what I thought is interesting, there's this African philosopher, his name is PhilosoG's, right? And he said, I mean, everyone has heard Rene Descartes. He said, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am.
That's right.
But PhilosoG's says, we are, therefore I am. So it's more of an Eastern philosophy that we really need more people to really help define who we are. And to me, that's really what marriage is about. Before I got married, I was not nearly as, I think, mature. I think it helped me to become a better Christian, understand kind of Christian sacrifice. Right?
Yeah.
It helps you understand like all the things that Christ talked about. But it really helps to elevate you to be kind of like that Christ-like kind of guy.
You have
right?
to
Because you really have to love your wife like Christ loved the church, which is what it says in the scripture there. So,
Right.
so from that perspective, yeah, marriage is a wonderful thing and helping us to kind of, you know, be better people. So I mean, what about you?
I mean, what's the question, academic?
I mean, is marriage good? I mean, is it? I mean, there's so many people.
Let me tell you this. I would not, like Dr. Tartt just said, I would not want to be out here dating because the dating scene has changed. The dating scene has changed. It's now about what I can get. It's really not about hooking up and can we find that love connection. And I'm not even talking about from a sexual standpoint. I'm talking about can two people connect. You know, matter of fact, it was somebody I was talking to at your church, Stephanie, when I forgot the guy's name. We were standing outside talking to him, and he said, you know, when I was looking for a wife, my mom sat me down and told me, these are the things you need to look at. And I was like, really? You know, when my mother had any kind of dialogue with me about relationships, she walked past my room, threw a book on the bed about sex, and walked off. But that was important. He said that his mom sat him down and she told him that beauty fades and that it's about who can you connect with to build a lifetime together. That blew me away. That blew me away.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And people don't get it. We always hear about these lists, and I think reality shows are really, really doing a negative for the community because they see the superficial piece. And what they don't understand is that men are looking to be better. So I say, you know, if a man is Clark Kent before you meet him, a great woman can make him feel like Superman. So that when she leaves, he drops back down to less than. And the research shows that men handle divorce way worse than women do. Okay? Divorce is devastating to men. It's devastating to both parties, but men by far have the hardest time. They usually have financial hardship, emotional hardship. A lot of times it's alcoholism, sex addiction, food addiction. You worry because, see, what women do is they sometimes, I'm not condoning it, but they have these divorce parties. And they have a whole cadre of women that support them. Whereas men, we always say, I'm good, I'm straight, and we kind of retreat and try and deal with it on our own. You know, so if you think about what a married man is losing, he has lost a whole lot. And a woman is able to replace a lot of that, you know, with her family and with, you know, her girlfriends. Because as guys, we don't necessarily have that level of support.
May I ask a question? So why do men do things that would lead them to the road of divorce?
Well, sometimes, sometimes it's a two-way street. They just can't make it work, because you can have all the PhDs in the world, you can have all the JDs, you can have all the intelligence. It does not make you a good husband or a wife. It's a completely different skill set, So you can be great at dating, but once you get into marriage, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to fix those necessary conflicts, you're in trouble. A lot of people think that, okay, you know what? He or she is not meeting my needs. Have to get a divorce. And we'll justify that, not realizing that the family that's next door has been through the same exact issues that you have been through, but they now know how to work through those conflicts. So we haven't really been taught as a community, hey, when you get to that point of where the blind love has worn off, and you start realizing that there's two separate people in this relationship, and you have to create that now interdependence, that's where a lot of people are losing it. When you hit this 3-year, 7-year, 14, 21, is people have grown into different people, but they have not developed this interdependence. We don't know how to do that. I had to learn that myself.
Right.
I'm still learning it.
Right.
That's
deep.
That's interesting.
Well, he said something there. He said women have to throw these divorce parties, right? OG once told me. He said, look, man, he said, don't get it twisted. You learn this, you prevent yourself from being blindsided. And he said, a man will love a woman, but a woman will love what a man does for her.
That's
right?
deep. Wait. For the people out there, what is an OG, brother?
OG can be old gentleman, it can be old genius, old whatever you want to put in there, but someone who has some experience, right?
Right.
And so at first I thought he was crazy for saying that, and I want to hear your opinion. I thought he was crazy for saying that. I mean, women love men. But when you think about kind of the order of things spiritually, right? Kind of the blessings go down, and the praise goes up, sort of a thing, right? So you have children, and then you have the parents, and then you have children, and you have the mother, then you have the father, then you have God. It's kind of the blessings come down, the praise goes up, and quite often, love from a Latin standpoint meant sacrifice. And isn't that what men are doing for women, is kind of this sacrifice and giving? And so women, it seems like they can separate a lot easier and just move on. Because like you said, I have a friend back home, he is wiped out. Wiped out. His wife is ready to move on. She's happy about it. She's, got another job in another city. He's totally devastated. I mean, he's going to her house every day, leaving her candies and flowers and everything else. She's like, he's tripping.
You know what, though? You know what we do as men? We let pride get in the way. Because one thing we learn is that when a woman's gone, she is gone. Now, she will hang in there until the end, and at some point, a defense mechanism will kick in and say, if he's not going to respond to my repair attempts, if he's not going to change, then I feel like I have no other recourse than divorce. All right? And so when she finally has gotten to that point, usually as men, we have a knee-jerk reaction. Because before we've said no counseling, I'm not going to counseling, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And then once we see her as gone, now we begin to miss her. And so now we want to get counseling. But by that time, I can tell you as a therapist, when you come in and one of the parties is all the way gone, it's almost impossible to repair that relationship. Wow.
I resemble that statement exactly. Because when I was going through my divorce, when it was over for me, it was over. It's like the light switch went off, and I was done. It was it. It was nothing. It was nothing else there.
Yeah, so it's like we have different timing.
Yeah,
but
I went through everything I could go through. I hung in there. I did all the things that I thought were necessary, and I can literally step back and say that I gave 100%. But when it was over for me, it was over. Lights out. Camera.
Wow.
Cut.
See, we as men we have to respond a lot earlier and be on the same timetable. But we don't really understand what to do when our relationships go wrong. I mean, think about that. How would you learn that?
Exactly.
I know growing up, my parents used to go to the back and have a conversation, and when they come out, everything was okay. But I had no idea what they said. Right now, I used to call my dad a chump. I was like, man, you let mom just say whatever she want to say. Come back at him. Why don't you say something?
Right.
Now, are your parents still together?
My parents have been together
How many years?
I'm 36, 30, and 40.
40 years?
Yeah, 40 years.
Wow. That's a blessing.
They've been together for 40 years.
That's a blessing.
And they know how to get through conflict.
See.
And that's the blessing. That's something that, for the people out there that don't know is that and it's funny how Lord uses people. not only did I write this book to empower women, but I was coming out of a divorce, you know, and I started dating, and I was like, man, I'm gonna be dating for a long time because these women just don't know what they're doing. Meaning that they were acting like I was the prize. You know, I wanted to chase them. I would see greatness in them that they couldn't see in themselves. And y'all gonna laugh at me. I started giving relationship advice on the date.
Really?
I couldn't help it. Because
wait. Did they like it? Did they enjoy it?
They kind of did, and they kind of didn't. You know. Because I love women. I didn't have any animosity. You know, it didn't work out with my significant other, you know, my ex and I, and we have a beautiful relationship right now, you know, as co-parents. But it didn't work out. So I wasn't bitter. So when I was moving forward, I was like, man, you know what? No one's ever going to tell her what she's doing wrong. And I just felt obligated. I was like, how do I say this without making it seem like I'm some type of expert, but I want to talk to her as a brother. So I would just kind of change the flow of the conversation. And then eventually I would just start giving advice. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to write a book. I'm going to write a book so that it's going to help me out when I date. And y'all have to ask me the real story about that. I was like, if a woman just read this book, then she would know these things up front.
Right.
Then she'd be able to allow me to chase her. Because if you're the one, I'm going to find you. But if every woman knows these things, men could be a lot happier.
So real quick, before we get into that, I did some research with this philosopher, Friedrich Hegel. Right, George Friedrich Hegel, and this is what he said. He's an old school philosopher, and he was saying about marriage. Right, he said that marriage is both a restriction and also a liberation because it helps individuals attain a sense of higher consciousness. Right, so we all know, all social scientists tell us that family is kind of the cornerstone of culture and society. So if you want to know the strength of a society, look at the conditions of its family, right? And so you see, like with American culture, you see higher incidence of STDs. Better yet, let's be real close to home. If you look at the African American community, we have what? The highest rates of STDs, the fastest growing segment of new STD, AIDS, HIV cases, black women, right? We have the highest rates in gonorrhea. So all these other ones. Also, we have the highest the highest divorce rates. We also have 72% of our children being born into families of single-parent women, right? If you look at like these categories, I mean, it is ridiculous. We have only 5% of black men earn over $50,000 a year. I mean, only 1% of black folks earn over $100,000 a year. I mean, so when you look at the condition of the black community, is it no wonder then that the family, or if you look at the condition of the black family, is it no wonder then that the community is so destroyed?
So, wait, let me ask this question, and Dr. Tartt, answer this for me. I hear what you're saying, academic, about the black family, but these problems in the community, in our community, I think they transcend all races and all creeds, colors, whatever. I know, because I've got friends that are white, I've got friends that are Latino, and they have these same type of issues. Is it the response to these issues as far as folks trying to make it work? Maybe in the white community, folks just kind of sit there and deal with whatever the problems is. Maybe in our community, we decide we're not going to deal with it. We're moving on to the next one.
Well, no, I see some specific things for the African-American community. And when I say African-American, that's different from African. That's different from Caribbean. There's certain things that's just African-American. One, we start focusing on education. We hear African-American sisters say there's no men to date out there on the market. The reality is that's true. But what people fail to realize is that it's directly linked to education. Our dropout rate here in Georgia is about 53% of African American males. So when you start looking at 9th grade, you have a full class. It's equal numbers of males to females. And then when you get to senior year, you start to see 3 to 4 to 1 ratios. Now, then you talk about going to college. So if it's less men graduating from high school, then they go to college, and then again, black men have a higher rate of dropout in finishing college. So when we start talking about being equally yoked, at least from a professional standpoint, the pickings are relatively slim, and it's tied to education. So I tell people, I say, listen, if we really want to improve the amount of eligible bachelors that are on the scene, we have to go all the way back, and we have to eliminate the dropout rate for African American men. And then two, I think that pride, our women are very, very proud. very proud.
I agree.
And that pride is what stops them from dating.
Oh, no,
Okay.
wait a minute.
Wait.
Hold
Hold up. With that, we gotta go to a commercial break.
We're gonna go to commercial.
With that, wait. Hold
All
up.
the ladies, they were loving me. I'm about to lose them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get them back.